Alright, what's going on guys? It's Shane. Today I'm showing off my fully recreated NHL uniform template. I built this entire thing from scratch in Adobe Illustrator. It started as a recreation of the New York Islanders' third jersey contest, but I took it a little bit further, expanded it into a full uniform package. That means jerseys, helmets, gloves, pants, socks, everything you need to build a full NHL concept. I also put together a clean, client-ready style guide so your presentation looks as good as the designs themselves. So in this video, I'll give you a full tour of what's included, how everything's organized, and a few tips to help you get the most out of the template. Alright, so let's jump right in. So first things first, you're probably going to notice my Illustrator looks a little different than yours probably. I have mine laid out for what works best for my workflow. There's only 3 windows that you'll really need, which is your Appearance tab, your Graphic Styles tab, and your Layers tab. If for whatever reason you're missing one of these windows, you can go to the top taskbar and click Window, and they will be in this list somewhere. All you'll really need is the Appearance, Graphic Styles, and Layers. If you've used an Orion Taylor template before, this is going to be pretty straightforward for you, but there are some changes from it. In your Layers tab, you'll have 7 layers and they'll be labeled accordingly. We'll start off with the top one at Jersey Front. You're going to notice a lot of things here. Some of them are hidden by default. That's okay. We're actually going to start at the bottom of this, just works best for me. Clicking into the jersey color, here's where you'll change your color of your actual jersey. You can do this in the bottom left, fill and stroke, or if you have libraries set up with colors or swatches, that will work as well. You don't have to go into the folder to change the color. You can just change the entire folder's color. But on the inside, you'll notice there's a right and left arm color and a torso color, so you can change those separately if you want. But we're doing the New York Islanders hometown remix, so we don't need those. There's no specific order on how you have to do these layers. I just do it what works best for me. We're going to click into the torso layer now. You'll notice that you have a stripe options and a hem options folder. This is the easiest way to add stripes to the jersey and customize them. But you aren't limited to this. I have graphic styles included that you can make all these stripe widths on your own shapes. But in the folder, you can notice they'll have extra small to extra large stripes, and when enabling them, you'll have the stripes show up. If you wanted to change the color of one of these stripes, you would click onto the layer, and in your Appearance tab, you'll notice that there's 3 stroke fills, and the one that is white is the one that you'll be changing. The other 2 are just the outlines and the stitching. So you'll just click onto the white one there, and then whatever color you want, that's what you'll select. Now, I said we're doing the New York Islanders hometown remix jersey, so we're actually not going to use these default stripes. Instead, I'm going to show you how you can make your own custom designs with the stripes and apply the same effect to it. So we're just going to take our pen tool and we're just going to quickly pen tool out a little pyramid, switch over to our curve tool and hold Alt and click, and it's going to make it into a wave pattern. I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. I think I went a little bit too overboard with the wave. Now, this is where your Graphic Styles tab is going to come in handy. By default, you'll see all these different swatches up here, and they can be a little bit hard to tell which is which. So if you just click onto the 3 lines in the top right and click Small List View or Large List View, they'll have the names on it there. So for this, I'm going to use a medium stripe, and you'll notice that it's behind the jersey. It's actually on this green layer. So if you notice it went onto the background layer, all you'll have to do is drag it up. This doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does, and you'll just have to move it. And then same as before, you're just going to click into the color up top, change your color to whatever you want, and there you go. Now we're just going to duplicate this stripe, drag it down just a little bit, and change it to orange. Now, like I was saying earlier, with the stripes, you have hem options. The hem options are almost the same thing, but instead they'll be in folders, and you'll have to go in here and change the fill color themselves. But we're not actually going to use any of the default hem options. We're going to do it the same way we did the stripes. This time we don't have to make it as curved, and we're just going to make a big square around the part that we need. Now I'm going to just drag this underneath our stripes there, so the stripes are on top, and then we're just going to set the color to whatever color we want. Now you'll notice here, if I remove the stripes, that there's no stitching effect here. Obviously this is a very hard block pattern. Up in the top right here, you can go to large fill or small fill, depending on what you need it for. And doing that will apply that same stitching effect, and you'll just have to change the fill color again here. But thankfully for us, the stripe pattern actually covers that, so we don't have to worry about that at all. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop over to my other tab of demo assets here. This is just for this video here. It's just so I have everything in the same place and I can just use them when I need them. We're going to place our primary logo just on the front here, and we're just going to resize that real quick. You'll notice in your torso folder, there's a place logo here folder. Depending on what your logo looks like, you can place your logo in here, and that's what most simple logos will go in. But you notice with this one, it's a little bit more detailed. There's a lot of extra layers going on, so when you put it in here, the stitching effect gets a little bit weird. So we'll actually just drag the logo out of that folder. We'll go into the logo layer itself, grab the back of the logo, and put it in that folder. Now the stitching effect's just on the outside of the logo, which is what we want. For the captain patch, it's going to be the same as the front logo. We're just going to go over to our other file, copy it over, paste it into the file, place it wherever we need, just resize it and place it where we want. We'll delete the default captain patch, drag the new one into the place logo here folder, and now that will apply the stitching effect to the logo. Next, I'm going to go into the shoulder options here, and by default, the square ones are enabled. If you switch over to the round shoulder options here for the New York Islanders, you'll have your fill color here, and you just change that. If you wanted to have a shoulder yoke, you have a bunch added by default, same as the arm stripes, but this jersey doesn't use them, so we're not going to bother with that. So then we'll go into the shoulder logos folder, go back into our demo here, place the logo into the folder, and resize it accordingly, and just copy and paste it onto the other side. Delete the old logos, and there you go. Next up, we got the collar. This is the color that you'll have on by default, but you can switch it over to the winter classic color if you'd like. You just gotta hide this layer and enable the other one. For this jersey, we're not going to use that. We're just going to go back to the default. Inside that folder, you're going to notice that there's the NHL logo options. This here is the default logo, the Hometown Remix logo, and the Reverse Retro 2.0 logo. This one's going to call for the Hometown Remix logo, so we'll enable that. Next, you'll have the lace options here. So if you go into here, you'll have lace collar, 3 lace collar, and X lace collar. We're going to use the default lace collar. Going into that folder, you're going to notice the fill color. We're going to change that for the collar. If you want, you can go into here and change the laces themselves. We'll just collapse that folder now, and you'll have all your different color fills. You can go one by one and change all of these. You'll notice that color fill 4 here is not visible when we have the lace options on. That's just because the laces have a different color that goes a little bit deeper. And then you'll have the inner collar fill and the inner collar fill 2. So that will be your back neck design and then your lower. Inside the inner collar design, you can change the text here, or if you want to put a logo here, you just place it underneath this clipping mask. We're just going to hide this because there isn't one on the Hometown Remix. You'll notice a folder here called Underarm Mesh. You don't need this for a lot of jerseys, but if you ever have a stripe that's going through the center here and you want to have this as the solid color, just go into here and change the mesh fill, and you can change this to whatever color that you want. Next up, we got the inner hem design here. By default, there's a text box here, but you can also place artwork down here if you need. Go click onto the text here and you can change it. It's already warped to the dimensions of the jersey. You can change the font to whatever you want. I'm going to use the New York Islanders font. Change it to orange, and on the hem of the jersey, it should say Long Island, New York. Just like that, your hem design is now done. All that we really have left now is the arms of the front jersey. And this is really easy, honestly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing that we did for the hem. I'm going to go over to our pen tool and just create a little bit of a wave. Remove the fill on this one and switch it over to our stroke. Click up in the top right to our graphic styles. Drag that into our left arm and just place it where we want. And then we'll go into the stroke color here and we'll just change it over to the color that we want. So just going to place it wherever you want on the arm, rotate it if you need. Then you'll go back up to your appearance tab there and you're going to click onto that white stroke again, and you're just going to change the color. It's very straightforward. It's the exact same way we did it on the front of the jersey. So I'm just going to hold Alt here and drag this just so I can duplicate it. I place it a little bit over top of the other one just to make sure that the stitching lines up nice. We're going to go ahead and change that one to the other color. And just like before, we're going to block out a quick little block here, change our fill color, and just make sure that we're putting that underneath the stripes. I'm going to come over here and grab my text, put it over on the arm. We're going to rotate it to match the 6. If your text was a font, you can just go into here and change it to whatever you want. But mine's drawn out to be a bit more accurate, so I have my font here. If you want to add that stitching effect, it will be the same way that we did it earlier here. We're just going to go and select the back colors, go into our small fill. I like to use the small fill for the arm numbers, and then just change the fill color in your appearance tab to whatever color you want, and do the same thing with the inner part. Just like that, you have your stitching effect now on your number. Now, when doing the left and right sleeve, you can just copy and paste them. That's what I typically do. If you Control-C and then Control-Shift-V, it will place exactly where the other one is. And then I just go ahead and right-click Reflect it vertically by 90 degrees, drag it over to the other side here. You will notice that our text is now inverted, so we're just going to go back to our text separately and re-reflect that just so it goes back to normal, and then rotate it to where we need it to be. We're going to go ahead and grab all those layers and just drag them into our right sleeve folder just underneath the clipping mask. Delete the original 2. Just like that, that's the front of the jersey basically done. I'm going to jump over to the back of the jersey. It's essentially the exact same as the front, but there's a few different things, so I'll mention those as they come, but I'll speed through this real quick. And again, when doing the front, you can just copy and paste it to the back. You'll just want to make sure that you put that on the bottom layers there. so it's underneath the fight strap and your numbers. Again, here you can just change the font here if you want, but I have mine drawn out separately in another document. We'll paste these in here and we'll just line them up to be approximate size. Place them accordingly and just drag them into the torso folder. We'll delete the original 26. Now, same thing that we did with the arm stitching. If you want to get that on there, you can go in here. This time I would use the large stitching just because it's a big number. For the name, I'm just going to type in Islanders. We're actually going to select that and we're going to go back to that font that we used earlier for the hem design. Find something that fits well, that isn't too thin. That might be a little too thin for the name. If your name's a bit longer than the nameplate, you can go into the nameplate folder. You can click onto these rectangles separately just to expand them just a little bit. And you'll just want to respace that out. The reason you can't do it with the whole folder is if you try to do that, these ends will get a little bit too close together. For your shoulders on the back, there's only one different layer here. It's gonna be this brand panel fill. This is just behind the Fanatics logo. Sometimes that your yoke stripe will go through here and it can make this look a little weird. So you can select that as a different color if you want separately. For the shoulder logos, I just like to copy and paste them from the front. Make sure we drag them from the front layer to our back layer. Hide the original ones. The collar here is really easy. It's just 3 layers. You got your 2 fills and then the Fanatics logo itself. So if you want, you could change the color of this. And again, for the arms, we're just gonna copy and paste them from before. This time I'm actually gonna select both arms and drag them over. Select all of those. Now you don't have to copy and paste the arms. I just do it, just make it faster, but you can absolutely just recreate them yourselves. On your back arms, you'll actually notice there's one new folder at the very bottom called Stitching Options. If you go into this folder, you'll have the standard arm stitching and an alternate arm stitching. Sometimes a jersey will have the arm stitching follow the top here. So you can just change that if your jersey concept requires. You can technically have both of them enabled if you want to have this cool little middle panel, I guess. But we're just gonna keep ours on the standard. And I mean, just like that, you're basically done. You'll notice that the front and the back both have this folder called hem tag. You can put a hem tag on if you want, like the reverse retro hat or some other jerseys actually still use them. That can be enabled on the front and the back. That's the jersey itself done. That's honestly the hardest part. Going through, everything else is really straightforward, but I'll quickly go through everything here. We'll go into the pants, we can do the same. Change our fill color here. Change the grommet color, which is going to be these little circles here. Change our inner pad color to whatever we want. Maybe we'll go with the ice blue. Now here we have our stripe options once again. If we want, we can go and we can put whatever stripe thickness we want. These stripes aren't limited, just like the arm stripes. You can rotate them and they should work just fine. But honestly, for this concept, I don't think I'm gonna put any stripes on the pants. We'll just change the belt buckle color to maybe an orange. And that's it for the pants, really. If you want to add a logo here, you absolutely can. Just put it inside the branding folder. For the gloves, they're separated by left and right gloves. You got your palm fill here. You got your main glove fill, your wrist fill, and then your cuff fill. As well as both your branding options are here for the thumb and the cuff. So if you need to change the color of those, you can change them there. So with this, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a color scheme like their jerseys have. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit further with the gloves and change all these individual panels, you can. They're all separate layers here, but that can be a little confusing. So what I do is I just click the layer, right click here, isolate selected group. And now here you can just click on whatever one you want, change the color to whatever you want. And then if you press escape, it's just like that, but I'm not gonna put those on. And then the right glove's the exact same as the left glove. I'm just gonna hide that though. If you wanted to put something there, you can. And now we're on to the socks. And again, straightforward. They're separated by left and the right. You have a sock stripes folder by default. For this one, I think I'll use the extra large stripe and I'll just drop it down here. Change the color of it to the nice navy. Take a medium stripe, line it up where I want, and just copy that medium stripe just above. Just like that, your socks are basically done. So I'm just going to Control C to copy that, paste it in place with Control Shift V, drag all of these and just put it inside the right folder and go ahead and drag it over to the correct sock. And just like that, your socks are done. Now we got the helmet. Super straightforward as well. Go ahead and change the color. Again, you can break it down by top and bottom. You got the screw colors, but you can also change those all separately if you want. And just like that, your concept's basically done. Now there's just a little bit more we can do with the color palette, the logos, and the actual overall template. But we're done with the main 6. We'll just go into the background folder here now. This text folder that's locked, you won't need to touch. That's just the helmet, socks, gloves, pants. If you want to change the color of everything on the background, you can just click into here and just click navy or whatever color you want, and that will change these boxes to fit. If you do that, you might want to change the name color as well. Set that to navy. Now up here, you'll notice it says team name and 2 different thicknesses. So I like to just select the team part, type in New York, and then we'll select the name part, which is a little bit thicker, and type in Islanders. And over here on Uniform Template 1.0, you can change this to whatever you want. I'm just going to name it Hometown or Remix Demo. So next we just need to put the actual brand logo here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that fisherman back here just in the right spot, resize it to fit. You can go ahead and hide the original brand logo or delete the layer. And then same thing with the bottom right. We'll place our primary and secondary logos here. Go ahead and hide the placeholders. And then the last thing you really have left is your color palette, which is in a folder here. You have 5 colors by default. You can technically adjust this if you need. This jersey concept's actually only using 4. Most don't typically go over 5, but it's there if you need. So here you can just change the colors of each one. I'm going to name it navy, change the Pantone. I use Pantone for all of mine just because I like to keep it as professional as possible. So in my libraries over here, I actually can hover over these colors and it will say spot color Pantone 282C. So I'm just going to type PMS 282C. You can find these color codes online as well. If we come over here and hover over it again, we'll see hashtag 011E41 is what we need. We'll go ahead and change the rectangle to navy, click out of that and do the same for the rest of the colors. And with this one being the white color, I'm just going to add a stroke to the actual box itself, just so it doesn't blend into the background completely. So like I said, this one actually only uses 4 out of the 5 colors. So I'm going to take this white color and I'm going to drag it over to where the 5th color would be. I'm going to go ahead and hide the 5th color, select the 4 colors I am using. And at the very top, you'll be able to distribute them horizontally. And just like that, now they're all evenly spaced. And I mean, we zoom out and look at that. We are basically done. So I hope this makes it a little bit easier to make uniform concepts and a little faster and a lot more fun. If you have any questions, suggestions, or ideas for future updates, feel free to leave a comment below. If you'd like to pick up the template for yourself, you'll find a link in the description. It's 100% free. I can't wait to see what you guys create. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. But that's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one.